Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to our lesson on plankton. So, what are plankton? Have you heard that word before? Let me think about that for a minute. When we think of plankton, do you think of something in the water? Do you think there are plankton in your bath water? Do you think there is plankton in your bath water? Do you think you drink plankton for breakfast? Does your mama, your daddy, or your caretaker put plankton in your water for energy? No. Actually, plankton are found in the water in Puget Sound, which I went and got some in a container to show you. Now, do you think the water in Puget Sound is drinkable? Should I try it? Very salty and not very delicious. Do you know that in the water in Puget Sound and in all salt water are little teeny tiny baby animals and plants? That's what plankton is. Microscopic. You practically need a microscope or a magnifying glass to see them. They're so small. They're floating around in their little teeny tiny animals and plants. Tiny plants are called phytoplankton, and tiny animals are called zooplankton. Zooplankton, not zoo, even though that looks like it's a spelling for zoo. We pronounce it zooplankton. And they're floating in here. Little teeny tiny animals and plants. So if you go down to Alki or down to the beach, if you have a chance and you look into the water, you're going to see it's not perfectly clear like a glass of water that you would drink from your faucet. That's clear, fresh water. There's no plankton in it. But the salt water down in Puget Sound and in the ocean is filled with teeny tiny baby animals and plants called plankton. Now, do you know that the things we see, anemones, good job. See cucumbers, good job. You guys know these. See barnacles. See urchin. What else have I got? Lobster. All of those animals started off as teeny tiny plankton. When they grew bigger and bigger, they went through more metamorphosis and turned into adults. So, a baby lobster, do you want to see what it looks like when it's a plankton? This is what happens when a little bit of water from Puget Sound is put into a microscope or a magnifying glass and made bigger. These are teeny tiny plants and animals. Look at the lobster. It doesn't look like the adult, does it? It's has to go through metamorphosis before you'll recognize it. Look at this one. This is a baby hermit crab before it goes through metamorphosis. Look over here. That's a baby sea jelly. It's going to go through metamorphosis. Or actually, that's this one over here. What do you think this is going to turn into? Do you think maybe a sea star? What do you think about when you see all of these interesting looking creatures? They are all in their larva stage, kind of like the tadpole or the caterpillar. Do you know that when I drank a little bit of that salt water, I was probably swallowing some of this plankton? Don't worry, I won't grow a sea jelly or a starfish in my belly because the bacteria in my, or I have things in my stomach that will probably kill them. I don't think I can grow that in my body. So that is a close-up look of what is in the water in Puget Sound. You can kind of see that it's not completely clear, is it? Those are all teeny tiny animals and plants. Look at, there's even some have already turned into some of the plants. Wow. I thought it would be fun to try drawing some of these microscopic animals. I think in your packets, if your mom or dads could show you, I have some zooplankton. Sorry about the line, that was my watercolor. But there are all kinds of little pictures of zooplankton. Now, if you are able to, you can try drawing them on a piece of paper with a Sharpie. Here are some drawings from last year. Some boys and girls copied what they saw and then paint over it with some watercolors. Let's see if I have another one. I don't know if I have another one, but I'll show you. I've got my Sharpie, and I did ask your parents to let you use a Sharpie. I hope they bought one. And if they bought some colorful Sharpies too, that would be fun. So on a white piece of paper, you can take a look at the little animals and try drawing one. I'm going to give it a try. I think I'm going to try to draw maybe this one right here. So my piece of paper, and I've got my Sharpie, and I'm going to look at the picture, and I'm going to try to copy it. Take my time looking at all the funny parts of this plankton, and I just wonder what it's going to turn into. So here's one that I drew, and it was this one. So I looked at it, and I tried to copy it. Then, if you have some Sharpies, I don't know if I have any Sharpies near me other than black, but you can color it in, or you can color it in with crayon. And then you can take your watercolors. You need to have watercolors. And you can paint right over it. And if it's a Sharpie or crayons, you won't have to worry about the outline smearing. Okay, you can paint right over it and it will still show up. Isn't that cool? And with crayons, it'll be pretty cool because the watercolor won't go on top of the crayons. It won't dry that way, so you'll be able to have the crayons show up and stand out too. So hopefully you can have a picture that looks something like this, and you can try and figure out what animal that's going to turn into. I'll let you know tomorrow some of the animals' names. So all of those things, those little animals and plants floating in the water, are called plankton. Zooplankton for the animals and phytoplankton for the plants. Isn't that amazing? Now back to my plankton. Should I drink this water? I'm very, very thirsty. No, siree. If I do get a little bit of salt water in my mouth, does that mean I'm going to grow a sea star or a hermit crab in my tummy? No, no, I've got lots of juices and acids that in my stomach that will definitely kill the saltwater baby plankton. Now, these little animals in here, will they turn into bigger animals? Yes, they will. They'll turn into octopus. They'll turn into hermit crab. They'll turn into a crab, a regular crab with a carapace, or a sea star, or a sun star. These are all animals that you might see when the tide goes out, or a sea cucumber, or a clam with a foot. Oh, there's the foot, and there's the neck. And what else am I forgetting? How about this one? Sea jelly. I say sea jelly instead of jellyfish because it's not a fish. And this is a sea pen. You might have seen that at the aquarium. And then we have sea cucumber. What else? Oh, these are on Grandma Dorothy's beach. Sand dollar. So all of those are animals. Start off as plankton. And then they go through metamorphosis, when something changes from that to this. Plankton into tide pool animals. Okay, guys, I am going to say goodbye for our lesson today. I want to see all of your paper covered in blue watercolor over your little baby plankton. Show me tomorrow. And get ready because tomorrow we're going to learn about our first type of tide pool animal. And that is I'm not going to tell you. We're going to wait till tomorrow. Okay, my friends, have a great rest of your Monday. And I'll see you Tuesday tomorrow.